I'd like to call the City Council meeting to order, and I would invite everyone to rise and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Phyllis, could we have roll call?
Craig Kershaw.
Here.
Matt Dyer.
Here.
Tyler Fullenkamp.
Here.
Scott Murray.
Here.
Wiley Sir.
Here. You were all emailed a copy of our minutes from our August 1st meeting. Did you have a chance to review those minutes? And if so, would someone make a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. I have a Matt and a Wiley motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you very kindly. First on the agenda this evening, we have Brian Clemens here, who's representing Decatur Main Street, to do a presentation to City Council about a possible kiosk that they're looking at putting downtown Decatur.
Welcome, Brian.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. And we've kind of heard bits and pieces about a possible kiosk that would go downtown. I think that Wiley, who's the president of Main Street, and his team have been talking with, what's the name of the company down there in Monroe?
Go-To Kiosk.
Go-To Kiosk, which is Dan Lehman, I think, isn't that his name, the owner? Yeah. So go ahead.
All right, as you said, my name is Brian Clemens, and I'm part of the Economic Restructuring Committee, and so one of our tasks that we're working on is this kiosk and working on placing it somewhere in downtown. So when you think of a kiosk, you think of information, and for some people that I've talked to when I brought up kiosk, they still have that vision of, thumbtacks and tape, like hanging up their information. But the kiosk that we're working with Go-To Kiosk down in Monroe, it's used for information, but it's much cooler than that. And so what I'd like to do is share with you information via PowerPoint. And as we go through the presentation, I want to show you what the kiosk looks like and actually give you a 360-degree view of it. I want to go through the software a little bit so that you can see a little bit of its functionality. And then we're going to talk about locations as far as where we're wanting to put that kiosk, our vision for the future, who's going to be the administrator handling updates and things like that for the kiosk, and then looking at the costs associated with it. And then at the end, any questions any of you have, please feel free to ask, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. Excuse me. So this is our kiosk. As you can see, it has a 49-inch screen there on the front. It's a touch screen, so you're able to just click on the buttons there or scroll through. We also have the Decatur sign at the top, welcome to Decatur on the side, and then information on the right side. And if you notice the wingtips, the black spaces on the ends, that's where our lead sponsor, or what we've dedicated for our sponsorship, that's where their logo will go. And since Biggs Management sponsored the first $3,000 towards this project, we are going to put their logo on the kiosk. And so to look at 360-degree view, pull it up here. So you can see it's actually fairly thin. That black unit there at the bottom, that's a cooling unit, and so that's what is used to keep the computer cool so it doesn't overheat. And then, as you see over there, in the middle towards the right side, there's a little silver circle. That's a security lock, and that whole back side is a service panel. And so anytime that Go-To Kiosk needs to get in there to service anything, that's how they'll access it. They'll access it from the back. So that is 360-degree view.
About what is the depth of it,
Um,
aside from that thing at the bottom, the fan?
I'm still working on actual dimensions of it. I don't know, Wiley, do you remember if he said what the depth was with the cooling unit?
With the cooling unit, I think that was close to 24 inches.
With the cooling unit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Judging by my eyes, Ken, that was about 8 inches on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not very wide, even with that cooling unit. Uh-oh, I forgot to hit it. If I let that run through, it just keeps going. There we go. So as far as the software is going to continually be updated as we go through this. And it's not to say that the software isn't complete already. It's just to say that Go-To Kiosk is constantly working on the software to give us the best experience possible that we can get from it. And the awesome thing about this is that we have plenty of room for creativity of our own. So we have the opportunity that once we get this set up and we have it in place, that we can look and see how it's used. We can use it ourselves and check out the functionality, and we can see if there's anything in that software that we might be able to do better or take away, whatever it may be. They're open to us taking suggestions to them to say, this is what we'd like to do, or this is what we would like to take away. And so to look at the software itself, this isn't exactly how it's going to look on the front, because the screen itself, if we turn the TV sideways and ran it at a portrait instead of this landscape, that's a little more of what that screen would look like. But just to give you a little idea of the front of it. So you see there's buttons down at the bottom. Each of these squares you can click on. So the first one here, Welcome to Decatur. If we click on that, it gives us a timeline. Now we can go through and talk about some different things that we might be able to do within this section itself, if it actually opens up. But right now it's set up as a timeline. So we could start off with when Decatur was founded, if we have some sort of picture relevant to it, and add anything that we find beneficial that's happened to Decatur throughout our history, and add that on there for someone who might be from out of town who wants to know a little bit more about the history of Decatur. And then while we're in each of these buttons, you have the option down in the bottom left corner to hit the home button, and it'll take you right back to that first screen, which the software does run faster than this. I've seen it. So the Our Video button there, our idea for that, we have the opportunity to display a video of whatever we want, and we'd like for Mayor Meyer to do a short little video. We haven't decided yet what that's going to be, but
Can you afford me?
I don't know, we'll have to see. But we thought it'd be cool to have the mayor saying, you know, welcome, or whatever we decided it would be, that people could check on that. And then down to the left-hand side, that's coupons. So if a business has a coupon that they would like to have listed on this, and we'll just say it's a buy one, get one free sandwich from a restaurant, you can put it on here, and it will list all the businesses and what coupons they currently have. And so this first one here, Tom's Art Store, obviously these are mostly fake, but this is a 50% off any paint supply. So someone could click on this and it'll pull the coupon up, and there's a button on there that says share, and that is the ability for them to be able to email that information to themselves, so they have it on their phone. And then on the right side, photo booth, which this is a pretty awesome feature. If they click on this, the camera's at the top of Go-To Kiosk, or of the kiosk, and it'll bring up a square, and it'll show an image of themselves. So they could do a selfie, they could do a group picture. There's a button that they would click, and it would give them a timer so that they could get set up. And there's the ability to have filters with that. And so a filter for this could be anything where, you know, we could make it say go to, or welcome to Decatur, and it'll have a picture of them, and then welcome to Decatur. We could have a courthouse in the background, or City Hall, or whatever we would like. We could do some goofy, you know, glasses or hats or whatever it may be. But it's a pretty cool feature that I think
And what happens to the photograph?
the photo, then they'll have the ability to email that to themselves so that they can share it on social media. Scrolling down a little bit more, again, this will all be displayed on the front. You won't have to scroll. This is an opportunity for advertising, so we could call this like a titles advertising page or title sponsor spot, whatever we'd like to call it. But this is an opportunity for a business to have an advertising spot on the front. And you can click it, and so in this example, see our menu, you can click it, it'll go show you their menu. And then down here at the bottom, we have events, so these would be any events that are going on for the month. Those would be shown right on the front. So whatever month it is, we can input that information and have it listed there. They can click on it and get any information for that if they would like. Down at the bottom, on this local, this is actually an interactive map. And so, this may take a minute to load. With the interactive map, they have the ability to zoom in, zoom out. It'll list any business that we've put in there. It'll have a little pinpoint, as you can see. We can also put, if you see down closer to the bottom, there's one that says Briggs. We can customize a little header for the business to have their name on there. And it'll expand out as far as you want to go. So we have the opportunity with not just Decatur, but county businesses as well for this. But if you wanted to do, just look for restaurants, you can click on the Restaurants tab and it'll bring up the same map, but it'll only show where the restaurants are. And with the header above it, you can click on that and it'll actually show the businesses whatever they want to show, but it could have office hours, their telephone number, their website, and again, that's all shareable information. They can click a button and it'll email it to themselves. Attractions would do the same thing, any attractions we put in there. History, if we click that, that just goes to the timeline that I showed you on the first page. A calendar of events. For this, we can actually list our events out as far as we want. You know, if we know the date for an event, we can list it out and people can scroll through and see what's coming up next month, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, as long as we know what the date of that is. And then there's another photo booth button there at the bottom. We go back to, so that's pretty much the software, but as I said, there's a lot that we can do with this. Right now, they've put it together for us, given it some functionality, but as we go through this, I see us being able to really develop it and tailor it to what we're wanting to get out of it. All right, location. So we spoke to GoTo Kiosk and asked if they could provide a rendering for us because we wanted to be able to show you what the kiosk would look at the location we would like to put it. So as you can see, the location is the southeast corner of Founders Park. They took a picture that I had sent them and kind of shrunk it down so that they could do the rendering for us. I wanted you to be able to see it up close, but I also wanted you to be able to see a little more of what it would look like showing the whole park so that you can get a vision for it. I'm sorry the coloring's off, I just took it, shrunk it down, and placed it over the top the best that I could. There is a concrete pad under there that we will have to pour for it. It's a base that it'll sit on. But this is the location that we're looking at.
So Main Street, that's their pick of where they think is best. Okay.
But the reason that we are looking at this location is for a few different reasons. We want the first unit that we put up to be in proximity of the businesses north of, on 2nd Street, north of Monroe. We also, this is a very highly visible corner, and so, you know, people walking through will be able to access this. And that screen, when it's not being used, it will scroll through advertisements. So we can put advertisements on there to scroll through for people walking by visually. So that's another opportunity for advertising for a business. The other thing is accessing it for service. Go-To Kiosk has asked that we provide 3 to 4 feet behind the unit in order to get in there and service it from behind. So looking at, if we put it up against the building, we've got to create that room for them to service it, which would then put it in pretty close to the middle of the sidewalk. And so with this mainly being for pedestrians walking through, you're going to be right in the walkway if it's in the middle of the sidewalk, and you may not catch people as they're walking by it. Next section, vision for the future. So we envision more than just this one unit. Obviously, we see having one at Madison Street Plaza because it's going to have the events there. There's always going to be a lot of people there. And that's the thing, too, with the first unit being there on the corner, is Californian. With Californian being there, that's a highly used corner. And I've actually asked Go-To Kiosk if we could have the first one installed by Californian so that we can really give it a good test run to see you know, what kind of use it gets. And they said that shouldn't be a problem to do that. But Madison Street also, and the use of the photo booth, I think will be a great thing for people there. We're also considering other areas within Decatur. We're actually talking to different people, trying to work through plans for that. We've also thought about outside of the county, where could we possibly go that it might be beneficial there. And really anywhere else that we find a benefit for it. And so the question is, how do we pay for these units? We strongly believe that if we do advertising opportunities on this, that advertising will pay for itself and future units. So after the units are installed and paid for, this really should be a revenue stream. And I'll go through that a little bit more in detail here in a second. Looking at the costs associated, so the cost of the unit's roughly $10,000. We're not going to have any yearly service fees. And the reason for that is Go-To Kiosk this is something new that they're doing. They're very excited about it. They're also very excited for the fact that we are in Decatur, where they're trying something new. So, you know, we only have a 15-20 minute travel time to, if they need to do something to it. And because of that, they've indicated they're not going to charge us anything for yearly fees. Now, that's for the first unit. I don't know about any others that we might look at, but we have talked to them about that. We also receive a 1-year warranty on parts. After that 1 year, we just need to cover the cost of whatever the part is. They also are very confident in their everything within the unit. They said the main thing is the computer that would probably need replaced over time. That's not to say that we won't incur other costs, but that was their, looking at concerns, that was the only thing as far as replacement. So who's paying for this first unit? We've already raised $5,000 towards this one, and we're currently speaking with other businesses to raise the remaining amount. We are very confident that we'll have that done as well. As far as an administrator, who's that going to be? Well, at first, it'll be a volunteer. And I have indicated that I would be the volunteer for that. Reason being is because of my involvement, I would like to be there to learn as much about it as I can, be there for any bugs that we may encounter, just really have a good grasp on this whole concept for if we do move forward with other units. After that time frame, if there's a partnership between Main Street and Chamber of Commerce, then we may look at the person who is in that paid position taking on that role. The admin would be responsible for any updates to the system. Of course, they'll have help from GoToKiosk with that. They'll be updating any events that we have, any information relative to Decatur that we'd like to share. The first thing that pops off my head is if we decide to put population numbers on there, you'll go in and change that information. Client coupon, so if you have a coupon that runs 30 days and expires, then that person will be responsible for removing that and adding an additional one, or not adding anything if there isn't anything to add. Client advertising, so as we move people in for advertising or if we move people off, they'll take care of that. They'll also perform updates. It's a web-based system, and so we have a link that we can go to access the software, and they'll give, GoToKiosk will give that person access to be able to go in and do that. I'm actually going to talk to them to see if we can get training on that 30 to 60 days out. That way we can be prepared for when we go live with it. And then down the road, they've expressed that they're working on developments to make it easier for the administrator. And so one of the developments that they're looking at is creating the software so that the clients can update, or the businesses can update the information themselves. So that 30-day coupon, it expires. It's on them to get it off of there. Now, there still is, the administrator is still going to have to approve anything. If they add anything, want to take anything off, it'll still be an approval process, but you're not going to have to go in there and do those changes yourself. So that is something that's coming down the road. I don't know if it'll be there when we actually install the first unit, but once they have it, we'll be able to update that. So this time, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
I hate to bring it up, but
Yep, go ahead.
we had one of our sculptures, a guy put a chain around it and tried to drag it down the road. What happens if that happens to our kiosk?
Insured?
Yeah.
Well, it'll be insured.
How durable is that screen?
It'll be bolted to that foundation that's poured, and the screen, we've been told, is very durable. Not to say something couldn't happen, but
From what I understand, there is a protection on the front of it, kind of like what we have with our phones. It's not to say that something still couldn't happen, but and they've also taken precautions as far as the signs on the side and on the top. They have security bolts on those to help minimize theft of someone coming through trying to rip the signs off.
I mean, I like it even more that it's something Dan Lehman's company can produce that's here, because they're doing a lot of really cool stuff.
Correct.
Does cold affect it?
it's got a heater in it.
Is it heated?
Yeah.
I guess the question is, why is a kiosk a better option than having an app developed for your phone, where everybody has the app on their phone already? So I'm have my motorhome coming to town, I push the app on my phone, I'm not downtown or wherever your kiosk is, I have to go there and physically use this machine. So how is this better than something that's on my smart screen already?
Well, we're actually working, they have an app that we can use, and we think that having them work together would actually be beneficial, because our main target is going to be people that are coming in from out of town. It's not to say that we're not also targeting people within Decatur, but targeting people who are coming in, visiting family, coming in just for an event, whatever it may be. They may not have that app, and so this gives them the opportunity to go and share this. The app will work well in conjunction with the kiosk, because you're still going to have a fair amount of population that's not going to use an app.
I would argue you have more that won't use that kiosk than will use the app.
Well, people downtown, I mean, if they're downtown and want to locate things, but you have a fair number of people that are not as savvy with so you'll have options of both.
Yeah, we don't see it competing with each other. We see them working together. But I mean,
I like the idea of having another mode of communication for the downtown people that are sitting at a light. You can look over and see what's going on in Decatur today.
How long you sit at that light, you're gonna sit there and watch it.
You're going to watch that thing spin until your light changes. And to me, it's tough enough to communicate with people in Decatur to get them to come to events and activities because they always say they don't know anything about it.
And
I think it's an excellent opportunity for us to share another touch of communication.
Yeah.
Who will be going out to businesses looking for advertisers?
Right now,
I will.
why would- but we will recruit if people are interested. But going back to your question, I also see, I think that's another awesome thing about having a photo booth.
We can take care of these things easy.
Is that we can customize those filters to make it relatable for whatever we would like, so people can actually go on there and get a filter that they may not otherwise be able to get.
The app will be an additional $1,000.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool. We already got an app for the sculpture tour.
That was free. I know that the Main Street Board and all of Main Street, they're in favor of putting it at that location, but there were other people that have put a lot of time into that, namely the women, you know, that I'm talking about, and you have talked to them, I think, correct?
Why?
Sandy
Sandy and I
and the
did-
ladies
did
who've
talk.
done a lot of the
Yes.
plantings and whatever.
Talked through it. And, we walked over and looked at the area. Her concern, or wanting to make sure that actually the color of the kiosks blended and stayed with the theme of downtown of what we're creating. So that's really the main driver as to why it's black. And we looked at the location. She identified that there will need to be one bush removed because it's right where it will sit, but she indicated that she was fine with that.
But if it's
and
going to be at
understood
Founders Park, that location was
that was fine. yeah.
fine. Okay. So what are you?
Main Street's paying for it, they're gonna service it for, admin it for now until it makes money and then pay someone to take care of it is what?
Yeah. Whenever it gets to the point where it's building revenue, someone with a much bigger paycheck than mine will have to decide to do that.
So what are you asking for from council tonight?
I think we'd like your blessing as far as having
Motion to bless.
I can tell you that I'm personally not a fan of putting it in the park. That's just my opinion. I think the park is special the way it is. I think putting a giant digital billboard in the park is going to take away from that. I live 2 blocks from downtown. I don't know how many people are actually going to walk by that and use it. I don't know if there's research to show how it would be used here, how many people anticipate using it. I think it feels like people would use it if you're focusing on taking people down to the new park or the new pavilion. I think it would be better there. I don't even know if it goes there.
Is it mobile? If they put it
It
there,
would be bolted down.
decided that it would be better somewhere else, can it be moved?
Well,
And
I
there's
think
some
that would be
cost in
something
that,
we
it's
need to talk-
concreted in the ground.
Yeah, I think that would be something we'd need to talk to them about to see if that would be an option.
I think we have to run electrical too, don't we?
Yes.
Another concern I think I have, and while it really sounds like a fun feature, is that photo booth.
I
That's a little concerning to me. Say like you want to have it up there by California, and I can see adolescent after adolescent lining up there to take a picture, you know, and almost being to the point of
Shut off
abuse.
pictures at a certain time of night.
I will say that since it's at the top, they would have to get back to do certain things, but... I mean,
That picture will go to themselves.
Sorry?
They don't put them in the street, they will send it to.
Will it also keep
They
a...
play on the...
No, they gotta take a picture.
I know.
They
It's
take
a
a picture.
It's
No,
a
they don't
person
have
in the
to
street. I
do
mean,
it.
whatever. It does not record the picture.
And it's not a picture that shows up on the screen.
It's there while they're in the middle of taking the picture, but once they either send it or exit out, my understanding is that picture's gone.
Does the machine,
If they could take a picture and have the administrator approve it, because that would give somebody else a reason to, that would be personalized the device that didn't scroll through random pictures, but you would have to have people approve posting those, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's going to go to their phone, but still, if it's going to have a background on it that's somewhere here in Decatur or whatever, and it was, it'd be proved that it was taken there, if they're, I don't know, that's the only thing I think that concerns me is a little bit. Like I said, I think it's a neat feature, a fun feature, but I have some questions, I guess, reservations about that.
Well, I guess, is that something that, given photo, and if it were shared on social media or something like that, that we could prove that
Oh, yeah.
to...
99% of the time, it might be just awesome.
Hey,
I would assume that 1% of the time, if it were an issue, could be taken off the kiosk. I mean, it's a part of the feature now, but it doesn't have to be.
right.
We could say, hey, this portion's a problem, get it off.
Yeah.
Again, I think maybe if before that picture is emailed to them, if it could somehow be administrator approved or something.
Yeah, and I mean, we can certainly talk about that and see what we can do. I mean,
Doesn't he type in the
I
address
don't
he
want
wants
it
it to go
to...
to?
And
any kind of atmosphere as well.
too, agree with Scott. I was dead set against putting it there, and, we've had some discussion. I've had a discussion with y'all. I accept it that if Main Street wants it there, and if the women who put a lot of time in there, if everyone who's put time into that park is okay with it, then I'm okay with it. But I agree with Scott. I think that park is something special, and I hate to put a digital billboard over there, but
Yeah, and we don't...
if it's just bolted to that concrete pad, I don't see why, if we don't like it there, why it couldn't be moved.
It could be.
Yeah, I don't foresee any issue with that either. But, we don't want anyone to think that we don't care about that park. I mean, obviously, we do. That's a great park. We just saw it as an addition, and the placement of it being here in the corner made sense, so. Any other questions?
Well, I guess if there are no other questions, does anyone in the audience have a question about it? If not, I guess what you're looking for is a motion from the board to okay or not okay the placement of that kiosk, and I would assume, Wiley, you would abstain from this.
I like a motion to approve it. I like it.
I have a motion to allow this to happen.
I'll second.
And Matt has seconded it. And I will ask for a vote, and Wiley will abstain. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You're good to go.
All right, thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in, Brian. Appreciate it. Good presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
We have two event forms this evening. One from St. Mary's Fall Fest. Do you have those?
Who's that, Kevin McIntyre? I think he's running the Fall Fest this year, is he? Yeah.
I have Main Street.
Who gave me the Fall Fest one? Sure. Did you have the Fall Fest one, Melissa? Well, regardless, I think the Fall Fest, we know what that is. It's something they've done every year for the last several years. It's a great festival, and I think all the department heads that needed to have already signed off on it. Am I correct? Les is shaking his head. Jeremy's rolling his eyes. Greg? Fall Fest? I think you did, because I think I saw this and you'd all signed off on it.
Several on my desk, I believe I did.
And then the other one was the Corey Cox concert, which was a concert that's been rescheduled for, I think, September sometime. September 21st. And,
I'm part of that one also.
yeah. And they're not asking for anything out of the ordinary. It's the same basic thing that they've asked for at all the other concerts, and all
County approved it.
departments have already, everybody signed off on that. So if I could just have a motion to approve both the Fall Fest and the Corey Cox concert.
Motion to approve.
I have two motions and
Second.
1 second.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Barb, just pick one of those motions and go with it.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Next thing is, at our last council meeting, we did the first and second reading on an amendment to our flood hazard ordinance. And before we go to the third reading and passage, we need to change a little bit of language in there. Under definitions on page 8,
What did they do with that?
the amount of the substantial damage and substantial improvement was incorrectly listed at 50%. It should be 40%. And while under specific standards on page 15, the amount of substantial damage and substantial improvement correctly states 40%. So we just need to have the two of them so that they align and agree.
Do we need to make any special motion that happens, or?
Yeah, so what we need to do is you need to first make a motion to amend ordinance 2017-7 to correct a Scrivener's error.
What error?
A Scrivener's error.
Scrivener.
Would I read that?
On,
That's S-C-R-I-V-E-N-E-R apostrophe S, Scrivener's.
somebody that used to be a scribe.
Yeah.
Right.
They're called Scrivener?
Scrivener.
I can't say it.
So,
Is it a term for an attorney that...
he uses fancy words.
Yeah, some kind of wordsmith.
This and X, we got...
No, I don't say them.
Refunding?
I don't make them up, I just try to say them, so. Anyway, somebody, it was just a mistake.
Okay.
That was a lot simpler.
I know. So we're correcting that before we adopt it on third and final reading. So we need to make a motion to amend ordinance 2017-7 by correcting the mistake in the definition for substantial damage and substantial improvement, and change that from 50% to back to 40%, which historically has been the percentage used by Decatur.
Okay, and Tim, you just put that word, in a motion.
In a motion
That I will be glad to make.
that Wiley made,
Now,
That's Scrivener's error.
So that's
Scrivener.
ordinance
2017.
2017-7 amendment.
Yep.
And
Wiley made the motion, I second.
Matt seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Okay, so we've passed the amendment to the ordinance.
right, and now you're going to move to adopt ordinance 2017-7 as amended on third and final reading.
yes, I'll make
First have it
a...
read, and then we...
We have to...
Well, play.
Yeah, place it.
You have to place it. Yeah,
Please.
yeah.
Go ahead,
I
Brian.
make a motion to place ordinance 2017-7
Reading.
on its third reading by short title only.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second to place ordinance 2017-7 in its third reading by short title only. Tim?
Is there a vote?
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Tim?
Ordinance 2017-7, short title, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Decatur which amends Chapter 155 of the Decatur Code of Ordinances of 2015 as supplemented regarding flood hazard areas.
I'll make a motion to pass ordinance 2017-7 on its third reading
As amended.
as amended.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2017-7 as amended, and we would have roll call vote for that.
Craig Koshaw,
Yes.
Matt Dyer,
Yes.
Tyler Fulenkamp,
Yes.
Scott Murray,
Yes.
Wiley Sir.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2017-7 has been adopted. Last thing I really have on my agenda is just to have a brief discussion. I think I mentioned at the 2 weeks ago, I'm not sure if it was at the Board of Works meeting or the council meeting, but that I had been approached by the county about them wanting us to partner with them in taking down the old jail. Actually, they wanted us to pay to take it down. That was the way they offered it, was that, hey, if you take it down, we'll give you the property. And we discussed that, I think it was at the Board of Works meeting, and decided to go back to them and say, hey, if you want to partner with us, and we pay a portion, you pay a portion, we would then entertain that idea. We also told them at that time, Don had went down and looked at the jail and the work release building, and due to the work release building already having been elevated once, and now with the fact that I guess it is starting to show that it's sinking again into the riverbank, Don suggested that we would not want that building either. And when I told the commissioners that, they kind of questioned that. They seemed to think that building still got a lot of good use out of it, and they want me to go take a look at it with the sheriff. And when I'm contacted by the sheriff, I'll have Don and Jeremy and Kurt go with me, and we'll take a good look at it. But I haven't been contacted yet, so when that happens, we will go do that. And right now, you know, I think the demolition cost for the jail and that building, I think, was a total, just a rough approximate $140,000 or so. That would be $70,000 to each entity. And right now, we didn't budget that for 2018, so it would have to be something that would have to fit into the budget somehow, and we've not done that. So without any agreement, we really can't do that. So as soon as...
What time frame do we have to submit our budget? Okay.
Let me find, I have that listed here somewhere.
Well, didn't they budget $100,000 to take it down themselves? Didn't they budget $100,000 into it to take it down themselves? So let them take it down.
We're going to have our public hearing on the budget October 3rd.
So we got time in there to have this inspection.
So we have up until October 3rd to make any adjustments to the budget? Okay. Okay. Well, I'm sure that here in the next week or two, we'll try to gather the people that we need to discuss this and sit down and talk to the commissioners, maybe some representatives of county council as well, and just see if it's something we want to do or not. So, I sure did. What is this we have here, folks? We have resolutions. 2 of them?
Yeah. The state wanted Rod Rankenberger to put this in 2 resolutions. This is for the flood mitigation grants.
Okay.
So he has one for 10 homes and the other one is for 8 homes.
Okay, I see.
And I don't think I brought my resolution numbers with me, so I don't know what numbers these are. Sorry.
So we would be passing resolution number 2017 - whatever the case may be.
Right.
And whatever the case may be,
The next one in line.
whatever.
Yeah, and then it'll say what our city's cost share is for both of them.
Okay, now, basically, they read exactly the same, except for one is for 8 homes and one's for 10 homes.
And the difference.
And the difference in amount. Okay, yeah, the difference in the amount.
No, this is an ordinance.
The city's cost share commitment for the 8 homes would be in the form of $43,906.25 cash and $64,700 in in-kind match by utilizing the City of Decatur Street Department equipment and staff. That would be for the 8 homes. The resolution for the 10 homes, the city's cost share commitment would be in the form of $32,031.25 cash and $83,800 in-kind match by utilizing the city's street department. Now, why is that, Phyllis? You have any idea why on the 8 homes, our cost share is more than on the 10 homes, but yet the in-kind is more, it's just the opposite? I wonder, do you think that's a mistake?
I think that is how he presented it.
Yeah, I think it's because of the demos of the street department doing the work.
Yeah.
Because they're going to take down more homes.
Are we trying to switch that from over a 2-year period? I mean, we talked about that.
Well, that is,
Resolutions.
that's what the
Okay, but
resolution
for 8 homes, it's $43,000.
But it
For
has
10
to do
homes,
with the
it's only
percentage of their
32.
Yeah,
contribution.
the FEMA money.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And for 8 homes here, the in-kind is $64,000.
I can ask Ron what the difference is. I
Okay.
can't tell you.
But, yeah, I believe it has
Tim,
to
can I
do with their
have these both
contribution.
introduced in one motion, please? Would that be okay?
Probably should take
Okay, how about a motion to introduce the first resolution, which would be for 8 homes, and we'll just call that for now, Resolution 2017-A for now. And we'll modify that when we know what the number will be.
I'll make a motion to place Resolution 2017-A, which is the 8 homes, correct? You said?
8 homes.
Okay, on its first reading by...
No, this is just a resolution, not an ordinance.
To just introduce.
Introduce it.
Okay. Introduce the resolution.
Yeah. I have a motion from Wiley.
Short title only.
But
But-
please,
Please.
yes, by
Thank you,
short,
Tyler.
that's what I was...
Tyler's a quick learner over there.
I was
You don't have to
trying
sit through the whole thing once.
By short title only.
Do we have a second? Second. Matt seconds. Tim, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Tim?
Resolution number 2017-A, short title, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Decatur, Indiana, authorizing a local match commitment for a FEMA pre-disaster mitigation PDM program grant.
I'll make a motion to pass
Resolution 2007.
Resolution 2017-A on its first...
No, just pass it.
Oh, pass, okay.
Second. A motion and a second to pass Resolution 2017-A. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, the same.
Okay,
And
no...
he'll pass it around to sign. And then we would have someone to
I'll make a motion to pass...
present, place,
Introduce.
I make a-
introduce,
Resolution.
It's place, isn't it?
no,
Resolution.
introduce.
Introduces on the resolutions. I don't know why
is
we
it?
do
You
that.
can use
Or
place
it's
or
okay,
introduce.
place.
Okay. Since the mayor preferred to introduce, I'll go. We'll make a motion to introduce Resolution 2017-B by short title only.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to introduce Resolution 2017-B by short title. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Quinn?
Resolution number 2017-B, short title, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Decatur, Indiana, authorizing a local match commitment for a FEMA pre-disaster mitigation PDM program grant.
I'll make a motion to pass Resolution 2017-B.
Have a motion? Second. And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. And Resolution 2017-B has been passed. That's that. Phyllis, did you have anything else?
More is it?
That I forgot?
That's the, I was just going to report on the budget.
Okay, Phyllis, would you like to report on the budgets?
September 14th, I'll meet with DLGF to review our budgets, and then October 3rd will be our public hearing, and then October 17th is when we'll adopt it.
There's 2 in there, Ron.
And then I'll provide you guys with copies prior to the budget hearing.
Okay, that's that.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Let's go out to the department heads. Greg, Les, Jeremy,
Wait.
No, I'll wait.
Don.
Update on project, or,
Yeah, let's hear how Master Drive's going.
there's no things done on the west side today, we'll be pouring concrete tomorrow, and then jumping over to the east side of Master Drive, pouring out. There's Start grading up asphalt, after asphalt, first next week.
Getting there, slow but sure.
Asphalt should be down a week from Friday.
Good, good, good.
So that'll look a lot, it already looks a lot different. If anybody's been down there with it all graded and pretty up. But it'd be inconvenient here for a few days while the curbs are going down and the driveway approaches.
How's the nature preserve project?
T&E is stoning, cutting out stoning as they go. They've got third ready maybe.
Okay,
It's going well. The dirt's been really hard. So yeah, that project's moving along nicely.
okay. Anything else to report on?
That's it for right
Okay.
now.
Kurt?
Corey's movie theater's coming along pretty good. We've got growl all up, we've got the floor system up, everything's pretty much wired. A few more weeks, I would say, maybe a month at the most. And then Don and I went out and did our first inspection for Wendy's as far as the setbacks and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They're cruising along pretty good. Talked about putting footers in by Thursday.
Cool.
So it's coming along. Good.
The construction people that's doing that, is that somebody they bring in from out of town
Yeah, these guys travel.
and just build Wendy's?
There must have been, 20 or 30 contractors that maybe they follow each other around.
Yeah,
Everybody's got a
Company
job.
built it for 'em.
yep. That's how they can do it so quick and turn it around, yeah.
Repetitive.
Yep. Thank you. Jeff, you have anything? Okay. Ian? Kevin? Bill? Hi. All right. Had a couple things. I'll try to come back to the second one since I can't remember what it was. One thing I want to touch on the mayor's report was the Madison Street project. We talked about this in the Board of Works meeting, and Board of Works made a motion for council to support this, and that is that, yeah, there we go. As of right now, out of our $50,000 goal for the patronicity, which is, matched dollar for dollar up to $50,000, we've taken in $29,505 through 54 different partners or patrons or donors, if you will. And that will be as of 2 weeks tomorrow that we launched that. And we still have 38 days left, so after 14 days or 13 days, we are almost 60% of the way to our $50,000 goal. So that's fantastic. I would encourage that 54 patron number. At the rate we're going, we're a little over halfway there. If that statistic would hold true, we're only going to have about 100 patrons to give $50,000. Is that what we want out of a city of 9,500? I don't. I would rather see hundreds of patrons. I would rather see hundreds of $10 and $20 donations than to bear the burden to 100 donors. I would rather see everyone in Decatur and surrounding Decatur that might utilize that plaza at some point in time to buy into the plaza. I'm speaking to everyone here, okay? I don't care how much it is, just participate. If you ever might find yourself down there and be proud of being able to say, I bought in. And that's all I'm going to say
Don't
about
forget
that.
the doubles for mine.
I'm sorry?
Don't forget the doubles.
Yeah, I mean, if we have 500 people give $10, I mean, that's not, their $10 becomes $20, just like that. So up to $50,000 that's on the total quote board. Like I said, we're gonna hit our goal, and I'm excited about that. I would just rather see the entire community buy in rather than just 100 people giving larger sums. So please consider being part of this. I think the phrase that we kind of coined off this is, it takes all of us to make a greater Decatur. And there it is. Back to Madison Street again now. We had the bid opening last Wednesday, and we had hoped for, I'm just going to kind of cover the same thing I covered in the Board of Works meeting, only this time, I guess, for the sake of the media. We had our bid opening. While we had hoped for several bidders to be present and open bids, there only turned out to be one bid submitted. And at the time when we opened the bids, we, I guess immediately following, started questioning why was there only one bid, and the reasons for that was the fact that the economy is just flat out booming right now, especially when it comes to large-scale commercial projects, be it the highway systems, be it through NDOT projects. You look at the city of Fort Wayne and all the infrastructure projects and
Crazy.
and yeah, quality of life projects. Every community is doing quality of life projects. Tim talked to an attorney in Indianapolis today, and they confirmed to him that several communities that they know of have put out for bids and haven't gotten any bids just because the contractors are so busy. So, contributing to that cause, I think the economy itself has contributed to the fact that we only had one bidder, and I think the attitude of those bidding was such that I think they're so busy. Primco was our the one company that bid, and in the scheme of things, this is a small project. They have millions and millions of dollars of projects that they're working on with NDOT right now, and but yet they wanted to bid on this. But I think they wanted to make sure they got exactly what it was worth. At the same time, I am very upset with the firm that we used. Not that I can't work around it, but I displayed to them that I was very upset that they came in so far off base, and we're working through that with them, and we're hoping to reduce the cost of the project, but not compromise the integrity of the project. So I, myself, Jeremy, and Don Bergdahl, we're all going to go up tomorrow to JPR. We're going to meet with JPR and also representatives from Primco. We're going to talk to them about ways of reducing the cost so that we're not so far out of kilter. One of the ways of doing that would be by reducing the square footage of the pavers. And I don't know if you guys heard all this if you were in here yet, but let's say if it's 30 or 40 feet wide, the part that's pavers, just by scaling it back by maybe a foot on each side, well, the whole length of the street is a lot of pavers, a lot of labor. So that might be one way. Using a different contractor for the paver construction and installation. We noticed that the company that they used was kind of like a Cadillac of the paver industry, and we would just as soon settle for a Chevy. And so we're going to talk to them about possibly utilizing a different contractor for the pavers. Something different, but yet still a good high quality that isn't going to compromise our integrity of the project. Changing some of the materials to provide subsurface drainage. We believe that the drainage itself, the way they designed that, from the top side, it can still look the same. And once again, what was below grade, the way they had the water being captured, was a Cadillac. And again, we think we can do it cheaper and not compromise any of the integrity of the project. We're going to talk to them about that as well. Then lastly, one of the things we're going to talk to them about is extending the completion date. Our bid called for the project that had to be done by May 11th, I believe it was, and we're looking at maybe giving them 3-4 weeks extra time and seeing if that would help. We think it would, because during the cold season, if they're out there that wanting to work and do pavers, they'd have to have tents, they'd have to heat the sand, heat the water. I mean, so if we think it could reduce their labor costs by extending completion date. We still want to have it done in 2018. It just may be a little bit later, may not be done by mid-May, maybe mid-June or even into July. So I went to the Board of Works, asked them if they would give the blessings for me to talk to Primco and JPR, see if we could negotiate and scale back some of our costs. I think the Bobs, you heard it when you first came in, we were discussing that 10% over the bid thing, which is just something that we kind of all were led to believe that was something we had to do. And after looking into it a little further, and Tim's talked to a couple different legal counsels on that, and we've found that really only holds true on certain NDOT projects, that we can accept a bid that's over the engineer's estimate.
What was it?
Excuse me?
What was it?
It was a couple $100,000 higher than our estimate, than the engineer's estimate. Yeah. So, Board of Works recommended and made a motion to allow me to go discuss this with Primco and with JPR to see if we can scale back the cost. I know we're not going to get it down to the engineer's estimate, there's no way, but if we can scale down 50% of that couple $100,000, then we would have an option of either proceeding with the project or rebidding. And Jeremy, feel free to jump in again like you did at the Board of Works meeting. One of our fears is that because of the economy and because of how busy all the commercial contractors are, that if we rebid this, it's only going to cost us more. Jeremy shared the example, our Master Drive project earlier. Because of a technical error, we had to reject the bids on it when we first bid it. We turned right around and rebid it, the exact same specs, and just because of the time of year and how busy that contractor was, when he submitted his bid, the exact same specs, the price went up $30,000. And that's not uncommon on rebids. So
It's very common to have that problem of 20 to 30% higher. Nobody really has a real good understanding why and a reason why it's that way. Right now, with the amount of money that legislation is putting out, the amount of funding for infrastructure projects, you're really seeing the market rise tremendously, which is a good thing. The state of Indiana, within the next 14 days, will release the community crossings money. Each and the community could apply for up to $1 million. So you take just the 92 counties in the state of Indiana, not even the small little cities and towns that would be applying for a lot of that funds. There's going to be a lot of work over the next 2 to 3 years, probably longer with infrastructure. The contractors are not real hungry right now, nor will they be in the future. So that will definitely reflect on the bid numbers that you get. We've heard several different times over the last couple months that these communities are putting projects out for bid. They're not even getting any bidders because these contractors are so backordered. It's going to be a common thing going forward. I feel real confident working with Primco and their 4 other subs that we could get the cost down. But like Kim did say, there's no way we're going to get it down to the original estimate. You can add up those numbers all day long, but you're just not going to drive it down to the original estimate. We are committed to this project. We want to really see the project completed. You can see with a picture in this drive that you have 54 people so far that's given money toward the project. The community's really getting excited about what they've solved this year with all the little projects that's happened in this larger scale project. But, we feel that we can work that number down, get it within reason, and still deliver a nice project. Talking with Permco the last few days, actually the last about 7 days now, this is a project that if we do go ahead and pursue and get started, that they can get started relatively soon, bearing that we get everything in line. They are asking for a little bit of time. That would help their subs, a little time extension, which we don't really see too much of an issue with that, especially if it's going to save us some extra fees, some overtime charges, and winter preparation charges and such this winter. We can work around it to drive that top dollar down.
Thank you, Jeremy. So, and I think I said it, but I'll say it again. I was not happy. This is the day we opened the bids. And Jones, Petrie, Rafinsky, and their staff all know how disappointed we were in their estimate. Unfortunately, we've signed a contract to work with them, and we're going to have to continue to work with them on this. So we'll get it worked out. That's my commitment to the city. So, having said that, if someone would like to make a motion for me to allow me and Jeremy and Don to go to this meeting tomorrow, and then what I would do is I would come back and make a recommendation at our September 5th meeting to either move forward with this, or if we don't see enough scaling back, enough money that we can save, then I'd come back and I'd probably make a suggestion that we rebid it. If we've just, we have 3 weeks to kind of determine what we want to do, but, it may be rebid it if we find out more information between now and then. But I guess what we want to do is I want to be able to say something to Primco without signing a contract. We're not going to sign anything until at least September 5th. But to have somewhat of a verbal communication kind of outside the normal scope where you normally either you just accept it or reject it. I want to have the authority to go in there and negotiate with them, with Jeremy and Don's help.
And I would interject one thing. You have a little bit of discretion to do that in this case because you only have one bidder. It'd be a little bit different if you had 3 or 4 bidders and you're now trying to negotiate with somebody, and this bidder over here says, well, wait a minute, if I'd have known that, I could have done something better too. So it's you have that flexibility in this situation.
So I make a motion to give the mayor that authority.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Tyler. Any discussion before you vote?
In my opinion, if they get the thing done, if you give them the verbal and let them start ordering materials, I'm supporting.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same. That's all I have. Tim, you have some things? Wow. Council members. Tyler.
I got one thing. Scott and I were talking for the council, or maybe Wiley. They're putting this kiosk out. Would it be beneficial for us to invest in an app to link with that as the city, to tie it all together? It's something that could maybe put out alerts when there's events, like a weather alert, like a phone app has. I mean, we have a promotional budget this year that we haven't touched yet. I think that would be a huge promotional thing. I don't know if we can partner with Main Street to put this app, to link it to that and get that thing rolling with the kiosk.
How much extra did you say the app was, Wiley?
$1,000.
I mean, would it be something you guys would be interested in, or?
Sure. Well, it could be pretty nice for people advertising too.
Right. I mean, I say let's do it all at once so we can save the money, because I don't think you're going to be able to just go start an app for less than $1,000.
Okay, but before we vote on something like that, I would rather have some kind of a presentation as to what the app can do and what it is. So
Well, I'm just
yeah.
suggesting we move forward with it.
Who does apps?
They do. They go to kiosk.
They do that?
Yeah.
So maybe we can have another little discussion on that at the next meeting and...
While you're specking this out.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell them that we'd be interested in that also.
It's a great idea. Thank you, Tyler.
Quick,
Go ahead, Ben.
quickly, I was asked how the city's funds and accounts, how are they, have we rebid with other local banks, and what's the process in doing that? Okay. I had since the last meeting, I had 2 local banks ask me what our process was in rebidding the city's business. So, the answer is they had the opportunity?
Yeah, they did it, they just did it.
Three of them. 3 of them did? Okay.
Okay, then. I didn't know the answer to that question, so I
Yeah.
wanted to get back to them.
And you can talk to Phyllis if you want to know more details.
Okay,
So,
good.
I do have one item. Been off and on hearing just people talking about concerns with fireworks and going off at odd times or even during supposed times, people starting sooner or so forth. And I'm also Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette. From time to time, there's letter of editors, people concerned. Just in the last couple of weeks, I did have a person approach me, very concerned about fireworks and, late at night and disturbances and so forth. So I guess what I'm asking is if we could bring the current ordinance to our next city council meeting and just review it. Because I'm not exactly sure what it says. I know it's been posted and so forth, but I would like for us to at least review it and have a discussion on it.
I'm 100%.
It's in the code.
Yeah, it's in the code. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I'm good with reviewing it, okay? I'm totally fine with reviewing that, Wiley, because I think the availability to the general public, the fireworks themselves, it's become so readily accessible, and everybody gets them, and, you can't set them off and really have a nice display until dark. Well, in summertime, it's not even dark till 10 o'clock. And I think we have so many days before the 4th and so many days after the 4th. I think New Year's Eve from certain hours, when we have, it's all in our ordinance. But do we want to look at that? And
I'm not suggesting up front that it has to be changed, and I'm not against fireworks during the 4th of July celebration. I think that's great. But something, too, that more recently I've been cognizant of is our veterans that come home and that have been in war and in situations where some of them, when they hear the sounds from fireworks, they hide. I mean, it really is troubling to them. And I think we need to, consider that too. Now, again, I'm not saying fireworks. I don't mean that. But I do think we need to be, I guess, more responsible. I think it's also, too, if we have neighbors when it's being done and it's not within the guidelines, report it if it's bothering you. And I did have reported that somewhere close to us just Sunday there were some people firing off fireworks. And they were doing it, I think, in the middle of the afternoon, but
They may not be aware of what the rules are.
I will email everyone on council our ordinance as it is now, and then we can take a look at that at the next meeting. I'll put that on the agenda.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
We just got a lot of activities going on this weekend. We Kiki Young Fest, we got a motorsports show, we've got a concert, we've got Taste of Decatur. Just, if you're around, come to town.
There you go.
Oh, I have one thing maybe to add. This is more of a kind of the city housekeeping has kind of driven me crazy for a long time. This is a good example. So Friday night, we're going to have a car show downtown Decatur, and then whatever time it's over, the cars will leave. And then they'll take the barricade and they'll pile them on the corner. It's Friday night. So we want people to come downtown Decatur Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday at business hours at some time, we'll pick them up. But all weekend, those will lay over the handicap ramps right on the corner, people trying to walk. So I don't know if there's a way to have them move them away, put a trailer down there to load them up. But they're always, every event, if you go look, they're always sitting on every corner, in the way.
We gotta just talk to Jeremy, we'll get that taken care of. Thank you.
Even if you pull them off to the side, or
Bring him in here, whatever.
bring them in here, or have the event coordinator put them somewhere, or... I liken it to my kids. They get their stuff out, but we don't put it away.
Yeah.
Until whenever. I realize it probably takes overtime or somebody to do that, but I don't think they should sit there for 3 days.
I agree. Understand. Anything else? If not,
Motion to pay the claims.
have a motion to pay the claims, and I'm second to pay the claims. All in favor?
Aye.
You know what? Hold on, before we go any further, I didn't ask if there were any comments from Phyllis.
I did on budget.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, the same.